Hi guys! So I am so excited and kind of nervous to do this video. Is that super silly? You guys know I do live videos all the time, but this one is pre-recorded for a very special group of people. So I'm really excited to do this and tell you guys how I've been able to be more productive in my life. I'm the type of person who really tends to squirrel. My son, a lot of people know my son is like off the charts ADHD. And even his therapist will joke that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So I am all over the place. I do 8,000 things at a time, and it's very hard for me to stay focused. So even if you are the type of person who's actually good at staying focused, it can be hard to stay focused on things like dishes and laundry and chores and work and like things that we don't necessarily want to do. It's really easy to stay focused on like Netflix or a book or a craft or whatever, but getting me to stay focused on like laundry is rough. It's rough. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips that have helped me a lot really over the past year. Even like the last 6 months, I've really started doing this a lot more. And so you might relate to this, okay? So I'm the type of person where I will start doing the dishes, okay? So I'll start doing the dishes, and then as I'm doing the dishes, I'll think like, well, the kids probably have some dishes in their room. They probably snuck in a cup or two or whatever. And so then I go to their room, and then in their room, I start picking up the dishes, but then I start seeing the laundry everywhere. So then I start picking up their laundry, and then I start shuffling around with their toys, and I put the laundry in the hamper or whatever. And then I'm like picking up trash. And by the end of the day, it's like I'm not done with anything. I haven't fully done the dishes. I haven't fully done the laundry. I haven't fully cleaned the rooms. I haven't fully done anything. And so I kind of live my life in this sort of way where at the end of the day, I feel like I'm exhausted and I've worked all day. Literally all day I've been productive. And I have nothing to show for it because nothing actually got completed. So I don't know if you resonate with that, but seriously, that's like my whole life is at the end of the day, I go to bed and I'm like, I worked so hard today and I couldn't tell you one thing that I've done. So what I have started doing, and I do have some notes to help me stay on track, has helped me not only be more productive, but I actually feel more accomplished because I know what I've done that day. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So the tricks for being more productive, and this is gonna sound really silly. It's gonna sound really silly. It's like a kid with a sticker chart. Like it feels silly. But truly this has helped me. So what I do is I set a timer. And the rule is, while that timer is going, I can only do that one task. I'm not allowed to squirrel. So if I'm doing dishes for 10 minutes, I have to do dishes for 10 minutes. I don't care if I see the laundry. I don't care if I see the crumbs. I am doing dishes for 10 minutes. I am not allowed to squirrel. So I set the timer and then I have 10 minutes to do the dishes. Does that make sense? So then I'll set the timer for 5 minutes and I will run around my house picking up as much laundry as I can for 5 minutes. It doesn't matter if I see cups, if I see trash. For 5 minutes, I'm picking up the laundry. This sounds really silly, but I promise you it helps. I'm like a little kid, like trying to be accomplished in 5 minutes running a race. But the thing is, it does help. It really does help because you're not allowing yourself to squirrel. And the thing is, you feel like you're being more productive by like, I'm going to pick up, the laundry and the trash and this all at once. But we all know that it's not actually true. But we keep doing it because we tell ourselves, oh, I'm accomplishing more than one goal at a time. When really we're not actually accomplishing anything. We just feel like we're doing more. And I don't want to make this about men versus women, but scientifically men can compartmentalize, which is why men are so much better usually, generally, at doing one thing at a time. And our brains just don't function that way. We literally we see everything all at once and it's very hard to compartmentalize. And so the timer keeps us compartmentalized. That's a really long word. I said that too many times. Okay, so setting the timer. So then from there, what I do, if you want to take this an extra step, so you could stop there and you could say, I get it, I'm doing it, I'm running with it. But I want to give you like some extra tips and tricks if you are someone who's like really just drowning. Like I am drowning, you guys. And so something that helps me is actually making a full list of everything. Laundry, dishes, working my business. You guys know I work really hard, down to like doing my makeup, taking a shower, brushing my teeth. Like, life is hard, life is busy, and even those little small things like brushing our teeth and brushing our hair, clearly I haven't brushed my hair today, it's hard, and we know that it's hard. And so what I'm telling you is you can write those down, and you can even write down like brushing teeth, 2 minutes, brushing hair, 1 minute, and it's gonna sound really silly, but what it's gonna do is it's gonna get you in the habit of doing this. So you're gonna set a timer, and you're gonna realize, I have 1 minute to brush my hair. I have 2 minutes to brush my teeth. I have 5 minutes to do my makeup. We feel like we don't have time because we're constantly drowning. But if you set a timer, realistically, you know, like, I can set a timer for 5 minutes, and it's going to go so much faster when you have a timer, right? And so you'll feel like, oh my gosh, I just accomplished 4 things on my list in 10 minutes when really you just took care of yourself. And you deserve that. So I wasn't even planning on adding that in, but here we are. So anyway, my point is to make a list of everything that you have to do and put times next to it. This might not be perfect at first. So I want you to understand this might not be perfect. If you put 10 minutes for dishes and it's like dishes actually take you 20 minutes, that's okay. But by making this list, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start to learn how long things take you. So you're actually going to be less stressed over time. I'm not making much sense yet. But it's like, if you think, like, for me, the dishes is a huge chore. That's why I keep coming back to it. Dishes are like my nemesis. They are my enemy. I would rather do anything in the world that's a chore besides dishes. I hate doing dishes. But if I really were to time myself like 5 days in a row, it probably takes 10 minutes of my day. It feels like this huge, massive chore, but really it's only like 10 minutes if I were to set a timer and do it. But I put it off and I put it off and I put it off, and it feels like this big thing, and it even like gives me anxiety because I'm like, why are there dishes in the sink? Because I just won't sit down and do them. But it's like, it probably takes 10 minutes. And so if you make a list of everything that you do, and then you give yourself a timer of like 20 minutes, but then you're able to knock it out in 10, then the next time that you have to do it, you know, I only need 10 minutes to do this. This is only 10 minutes of my day. It's not a big part of my day. And so your anxiety around the chore actually goes down, at least for me. I don't know if that's helpful to anybody. Okay, so there's that. So I make a list, and then eventually I learn how much time each thing takes me. And from there, I'm able to like kind of see the reality that it's not as much time as I think, and it's not as big of a deal as I feel like it is. And then also from there, I'm really extra, you guys. I apologize that I'm super extra. But also from there, if you know that you're gonna have 10 minutes, like 10 minutes of free time while the kids are in the not in the bathtub, that's not a good example because I don't leave my kids when they're in the bathtub. While the kids are reading, if they have like 20 minutes of reading time, and you know, okay, I'm gonna have 20 minutes of quiet time to get something done, you'll be able to look at your list and say, okay, what can I realistically knock out in 20 minutes? And instead of taking the first 5 minutes to decide what you can do in 20 minutes, does anybody else do that? It's like you take half the time just preparing for the thing that you want to do. Instead, you're going to be able to look at this list and you're going to know, okay, in 20 minutes, I can prep their lunches for tomorrow, and I can put the dishes from the dishwasher away. And you can do both of those things within 20 minutes. Does that make sense? I feel kind of embarrassed that I'm doing this video now that I'm saying it all out loud. I hope this is helpful. Okay, so there's that. So you'll know how long things take. So whenever you have spare moments, you'll be able to fill those gaps with the things that are on your list because you'll know how long they take. And you won't have to take as long to decide what you want to do because you'll know your numbers. One of the things that I say in business all the time is what can be measured can be improved. And I say that all the time in my business, but it actually works in your personal life too. Okay, so the last thing that I want to tell you is to not go over your time, even if you're not done. I know that's hard. I know that's really hard. Once you start the laundry, you want to finish the laundry, right? Once you start the dishes, you want to finish the dishes, right? And this can go for anything at all. But what I'm going to tell you, and you can do this eventually, but it's just like when you first start a diet, they tell you not to cheat in the beginning. You have to like be really into the diet. And then once you're more routine in the diet, you can cheat a little bit because it's easier to pull yourself back. It's the same thing with the timers. If you set the timer for 10 minutes and you do that for 20 minutes, you're going to very consistently think like, oh, the timer doesn't actually matter. And then you're going to become less and less and less productive and less like using the timer, which is fine if the timer like method doesn't work for you. But if it does work, like you just really want to stick with it. So you want to tell yourself, okay, 10 minutes is up. I have to move on to the next task. 20 minutes is up. Okay, I have to move on to the next task. Because if you're pushing past the timer, then you're kind of messing with the whole system and you're telling your brain that the timer doesn't matter. Again, hopefully that makes sense. How many times can I say that in one video? So anyway, when you're first doing it, stick to the timer. Even if it means you're dropping a task in the middle of the task, drop the task. You can come back to it even in an hour with another timer set. And then the next time you do that task, you know that it takes 20 minutes instead of 10. I would rather you stop the task and do something else and then come back to it with a new timer than push past the timer, because mentally it's just not going to help you get into this system. You need to be strict with yourself at first. And it's almost like a game of trying to see how quickly you can do the project. So, I don't know if this was worth it for anybody. I don't know if any of these tips were helpful for anybody. But there's so much that this can work for. And especially if you're like me and you're just super busy and super all over the place and you never feel like you even have 10 minutes, you get to a point where you realize you can actually get a lot done in 10 minutes. You can get a lot done in 5 minutes. It's just a matter of calming ourselves and understanding how quick and efficient we can be when we're actually focused versus squirreling like a lot of us do. So I hope this was helpful. I really do. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Bye, guys.